Yeah, so today I booked the Holden Commodore. I've driven the Holden Commodore before, but I thought, I hadn't done a review on it, so I thought I'd book it, and then maybe I might get the Renault Koleos, which I saw here last week. But unfortunately, when I got to Europcar, they gave me the Kia Sportage. So I haven't done a review on it yet, but I will say I wasn't too excited when they told me I had the Sportage, and apparently they didn't have any Koleoses around that they could give me, and they didn't have a Commodore either. So I went, all right, well, I'll take the Kia Sport. So let's find out what the Kia Sportage looks like. So first of all, I'll take you around the outside, and then we can sort of have a look around the outside of it. Then, as usual, I'll drop inside the car, and then we'll take you for a look inside, and then we'll go for a drive for the car and see what I think about the car. Okay, so looking outside the Kia Sportage here, I kind of think it's starting to look a bit outdated. This model's been around for quite some time. I think it doesn't look bad, but I think it's a bit plain looking sort of thing. I don't think it looked like it's such a flashy car or anything like that. So having a look here, it's got the 17-inch wheels on there. They don't really look overly big on this car. And then we're just going to go around the back here and take a look at it here from the back there. So just as we're coming around the back here, I don't mind the back of it. I think it looks all right. It looks like very common looking, really. The rear lights, I don't mind them there. The exhaust is sort of hidden underneath there. The roof's got a bit of a sloping, sporty look there. It's not too bad looking, really. So coming back around, looking this side, no particular lines on the car that really give it any much of a unique shape. You can see the roof rails there, so you can put roof racks on it. And then we'll just move back around the front here. And just looking at the front there, it's got the unique Kia grille there. You can see some fog lights there. Then you've got the camera that you can see up there for your frontal assist and things like that there. So yeah, let's take you back around the side here, and now we'll go and jump in the car and see what it's like inside. So this one doesn't have any proximity keys, so you just basically you gotta unlock the car and open the car here. So as we turn on the car here, you can see it's got the little Kia comes up there, and then you see there, center dash there. So having a look around it, you've just got the dials are pretty basic there. When I first got in one of these before, I found that the steering wheel had a lot of different options on it there. So you've got your cruise there, buttons there, you've got some menu buttons there, and then on the left hand side you've got your telephone buttons there, and then you've got your volume buttons, and then your mode button there for the trip computer. But I think there's a lot happening on that steering wheel. And then we just have a look around the cabin here. You've got things like your lane assist and stuff there you can turn on or off. And then come back around here, it's a reasonable size screen you've got there. Definitely not the biggest I've seen, but it's reasonable. This one's got Apple CarPlay on it, as most of them usually do. The menu function here, what have we got in there? You've got the radio section there. We just take it back to the home section there. You've got different app info settings. Back to all menus here. So you've got your phone, Apple CarPlay, quick guide showing around the car, a bit about the car, the radio there, if you've got any media plugged in, settings, voicemail there, and the settings it's got the sound, so display, Bluetooth, phone projection, and home screen. When it like to turn on the car, what it looks like, date, time, language, keyboard. There's also touch screen, as you can see as well, screensaver, then some advanced settings in there. So not a huge amount of different applications in there, but I guess your standard sort of application. This one's got climate control on it. Most of the controlling it's touch screen, but you've also got the buttons here to go to the different shortcut menus on the screen there. You've got your volume button, and then you've got your tuning button there. It's got one USB plug in here, and you can just see the gear stick lever there with Tiptronic on it there. You've got you can turn the parking. It's only got rear sensors, this one, and it's got the rear camera as well. And then you've also got the downhill assist there as well, and then your different driving modes. It's only got 3, this one, so it's got eco, sport, and normal in there. Having a look around the passenger seat here, so the seats
I would just say they're comfortable seats. I don't mind them. They're alright looking. Obviously, just as this is sort of one of the mid-tier models, it's not just basically fabric, no leather or anything like that. And then 2 cup holders down there. No electric handbrake, normal handbrake. Yeah, and this basically doesn't have any start-stop function. It's literally, you just use the key to turn on the car. So fairly simple and probably easy to use when some people don't know if it's start-stop. They just don't know what to do. Well, let's go and take a look around the back of the car and see how much room's in the rear of it and what the rear looks like. So in the rear of the car now, a good amount of room in here. I'd say pretty much similar to most of these mid-size SUVs. As an adult, enough room there. The center seat here's got enough room as well. I think you could fit 5 reasonably comfortable. Some of these mid-size SUVs have got the rear seats which are on rails. This one doesn't, so the seats are in a locked position and you can't really move them at all. So probably one minor issue there. If you're hoping that they have rails at the back, this actually doesn't. And I know a lot of these mid-size SUVs do, which is quite handy there. Looking around in the back here, yes, there's not much to really look at there. You've obviously got all your electric windows in the back here. You've got another USB socket, which I think is quite handy in there, and also a 12-volt plug there. And then you've just got your air vents here in the back, which I heard that with some cars in this price range actually have to pay to get that. So I think it's one of the Hyundai Tucson, you've got to pay an additional option to get those rear vents in there, which I think is a bit crazy there. The rear seats are sort of sloping. When you sit on them, they sort of give you like a sloping feeling. They're on a bit of an angle. You probably can't see it so well here at the camera angle, but it's kind of, it's comfortable, but it's a strange angle. They really slope back. And then you've got standard pull down cup holders there if you need it for that, if you're not using the center seat there. So you can also fold down the rear seats in this. You actually have to get out to actually see there. You can use the lever there and you can fold them. You can actually adjust the back seat there, so they will fold flat, those seats there. So let's go around and take a look at the boot size of the car here. So let's open the boot up here. Kind of looks a bit smaller than some of these mid-size SUVs. Some of these mid-size SUVs are quite a bit bigger than this. It doesn't have any hard cargo privacy cover in this one. You can obviously put one in there, so I can see there's little clips there where it would clip in there. Looking around here, you don't really you don't even have any 12-volt plugs or anything like that to plug into, so there's not much really in the rear here. I'm having a look here. You've got the full-size spare, which is quite good actually. It's rare that these days that you get a full-size spare in there, and you've also got a bit of storage in there if you need to store anything around the spare and things like that. And a little bit of I don't know how you open it there. No, it's just like a little clip there that you can maybe in some of the higher models use as a tray or something like that. Alright, we'll just close the boot up now. Again, your center manual close there. I think they had a higher model there, that's where the button would be to do the auto close there. So we'll just close it back up here. And then let's have another look at the back here. Yeah, so that's the outside and the inside of the Kia. So what we're going to do now is, as usual, I'll jump in, we'll take it for a drive, I'll talk a bit about the car inside it, tell you a bit about what I think about it. Yeah, so let's jump in the car and let's find out. So now in the Kia Sportage, driving it, and really I kind of feel that it's not the most exciting car that I've ever driven, definitely not even close. It's, I guess, what you'd expect out of a mid-size SUV here. You know, it rides okay, the cabin noise, there's a bit of cabin noise, but you know, nothing to complain about. It sits quite high, which is good for the female drivers. They'll get a good view out of it there. Looking around the car, there's no major blind spots or anything like that. All the visuals I think are pretty good. The turning circle in this is reasonable there. The engine, it's a 2-litre 4 in here. I wouldn't say it's the punchiest thing ever. You know, if you put your foot down, it gets going, but you know, nothing spectacular there. The handling, it's okay, leans a reasonable amount in the turns, but it doesn't over lean in the turns too much, so it's definitely bearable there. The steering wheel, I like the feel and size of the steering wheel. It's got Tiptronic on the gear stick here, but none of the flappy paddle gear sticks, but I think they're not necessary in this car anyway. It's not a sports car. You're not going to be using it that much anyway, so the only reason for putting it there is to try and make the car look a bit more sporty, but I think they're kind of useless in these sort of cars with just the simple engines in there. The stereo system's alright. It's a bassy but a cheap sort of bassy, so it definitely doesn't sound like a high quality system by any stretch of the imagination. The look and feel, which I showed you before, of the dash, very simplistic. I don't mind the look of the inside. It's starting to look a bit outdated, but it looks really pretty much clean. All the buttons are really like around you, very accessible and easy to find, and you're not really looking for any buttons or anything like that. So I think that's ergonomically it's quite good there. The brakes on the car, wasn't a massive fan of them. Thought they could be a bit better. The traction I thought could be a bit better on it. I know it's a two-wheel drive car, but it's a bit wet here today in Melbourne, and taking off the line of the lights, sometimes I could feel the slip in the tyres there. So, I checked the tyres out, and the tyres seemed okay. So, it wasn't concerning, but it's it's just something that I noticed that the front end grip wasn't great there. As I said, there's plenty of technology, the side assist, the front assist. You get a fair heap of steering input, which I've noticed. So this car really likes to try and drive itself. So what I mean by that is that the steering really likes to input. So an example is, I was coming off the highway at some stage, say on an off ramp, and we're coming around a bend, and there wasn't even lanes. The lanes weren't marked, but there was 2 lanes there. And I was just interested to see what it did, because I'd been feeling it throughout the day, kind of grabbed the steering wheel off me a tiny bit. And I let go of the steering wheel a bit, and then it just kept on turning itself around the bend, which is kind of cool. It's good technology, but it's like, okay, well, it's kind of trying to drive itself anyway, and you could feel it always interfering. So I'm sure if you turn off those assists, you won't get that interference. I mean, some people might like that. For me, it's maybe sometimes a bit annoying. You want to be able to feel the car and feel that you're driving the car, not that it's driving you. But that was just sort of an interesting feel, which I haven't really, on the other cars in this class, I haven't felt that their driving assistance has been coming in so much as this one has. So this is really, you're always kind of feeling, not always, but often feeling where the driver assist is sort of coming in and sort of doing some of the work for you, which, as I said, some people might like and might give them more confidence in the car there. So the other features are here that maybe talk about, it's got your auto lights, which is pretty standard across everything these days. Your auto wipers, again, which is standard. The thing I like is it's got the folding mirrors, where when you lock the car, all the mirrors fold, which sometimes you don't find on cars in these classes, but I think that's already quite a handy feature, especially when parking in tight areas. It does have the electric tinted rear view mirror. So what that means is you can press a button up here in the rear view mirror, and it sort of tints it. So if you've got any lights that are reflecting from the car behind, it doesn't get in your eyes as much and doesn't distract you as much. So that's kind of unique. I don't find that in a lot of these mid-size SUVs that I drive. So yeah, that was something a bit different there. The gearbox, 8-speed gearbox in this, found that it's a lot better than the CVT gearbox. It doesn't sort of, when you need it to drop down the gear, it drops down the gear, and it doesn't sort of interfere with the driving experience as much as, say, a CVT gearbox does, which I don't like. You've heard in my other videos, I'm not a big fan of them at all. So all in all, look, the word I keep on using for this car is average, and that's because I think it is average, and that's not a bad thing. It's just to say that it doesn't really stand out, and there's nothing really that wows me. But at the same time, there's nothing really that I hate about this car, or really detest or don't like about it. So everything just sort of averages out. So it's, on all aspects, like the ride, the engine, everything, it just feels average. So look, I wouldn't buy it, but I think I'd buy a mid-size SUV unless it had some power to it and it was a bit more exciting to drive with a bit of a bigger engine. If you just, as a family car, you could fit the family in here all right, and I guess it's comparable against a lot of the other mid-size SUVs I've driven. So probably on the ratings, I'd rate the X-Trail a tiny bit higher, trail a tiny bit higher than this. I'd rate it on a similar level to, say, the Subaru Forester, very similar level as the Hyundai Tucson and X30. I think it's an extremely similar car to those two, and it's just be deciding on which brand you like better, and if you've got to the looks of the car, if there's one car you like over the other. The Outlander, I think the Outlander's it feels a lot bigger than this, and I prefer the Outlander over this. But yeah, look, again, the finish off, the car's okay, you know, and if you bought it, you just bought it as a car to get you from A to B, you wouldn't be extremely disappointed or anything, and it would get the job done, and you know, do it comfortably as well. So yeah, no, thanks for watching today. I hope the video was useful. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.